You know, we are so honored to be recognized tonight, but this story isn't really about us. It's about the house. It's about what it goes on here. But it's been interesting that we've had so many friends who have come up to us, and acquaintances who have come up to us and said, um, you probably didn't know this, but my niece was at a Ronald McDonald house somewhere. The friend of, I mean, they would, and this has happened so many times. It may not have been this house. It could have been a house in Philadelphia. It could have been a house in, wherever. But it's really interesting about that whole idea of the house, and so that the money that gets collected and stuff. I mean, it goes for a lot of it goes for this house, but the whole idea of just it is such a global
story.
Story, yeah.
Ironically, the first time I got very involved was when we lived in Shanghai, China, because we brought the first Ronald McDonald House charities to Shanghai back in 2005, I think, 2006. How I got involved in this particular Durham house was through Rick Richards when we had just moved back from Asia, and Rick asked if I wanted to get involved. Actually wanted both of us to get involved in the house here in Durham. So that's how that connection was made when we moved back.
Yeah, I was kind of like a forensic scientist, I think, from some degree, in going back through old files, from like when the house first started here. And I went back through just tons of old minute meetings from board meetings from the 1980s, the old mimeograph sheets from that time. They still had that odor that mimeograph sheets have. But going back through all of those to truly find out all these gifts that had been given over the past 30 years, really, what were the limitations to them? How could the money be spent?
Great work, obviously very much needed, and more importantly, work that nobody really wants to do, but she loves it. Brenda loves doing this kind of, isn't it great to have somebody that wants to do something that nobody else really, everybody else was, oh yeah, we really need to do that. Oh. She's like, oh, I'll do it.
Yeah, it was fun. I
Yeah,
thought
she loved it.
It was a challenge.
She loved it. The other great story of Ronald McDonald House here and elsewhere is that all the money is going, essentially, or most of the money is going directly to the people that are staying here and their families, so that you don't have a large administrative budget that you have to justify why you're only 50 or 60% of the money you're putting in is going for the cause. In this case, almost all of it does. So between that and the cause itself, it's a story that pretty much writes itself. And one of the biggest positives and most thought-provoking things about being involved here is at the start of every board meeting is listening to a family tell their story. And boy, you talk about getting things in the proper perspective before you're starting to get into the work of the administration or the finances. And it's always grounded by the fact that people are telling a story that, and they tell it with ebullience and positivity that I can't imagine having myself if I was in their position. So this is a great way that the folks here set the table for, let's make sure we keep the right thing in mind.